All right, welcome back to another video. I hope you're doing well. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to build a web researcher agent and that accepts any user query, any web search query, and returns a comprehensive, well thought out, well researched response. So let's dive right into it. The framework that we're going to be using is called smolagents, and we're also going to be using some Google tools. And I'll take you through the process step by step. So by the end of the video, you're going to be able to replicate the process, replicate the agent, and make it your own agent. So you're going to have a super powerful web researcher agent that works for you and that answers any query to a granular level. So let's begin. First of all, here's what we'll need. We'll need a code editor. That could be VS Code, Cursor, or any code editor that lets you run Python code. And of course, we're going to need to have Python installed, as well as a Google account and an OpenAI account. And if you're watching this video, I mean, 99% chance that you have a Google account, and very likely that you already have an OpenAI account as well. So, very easy to set up, and I'll show you how to do it. All right, so what is small agents? Small agents is literally what the name implies. It's a small, lightweight, easy framework to build AI agents with. It takes a few lines of code. It's newbie friendly, so if you've never heard about it before, don't worry. I'll show you how to get started, and it'll be a smooth riding. All right, so the agent folder structure is as follows. We will need a virtual environment, an environment file to hold our environment variables. And if this is too technical, don't worry about it. I'm going to jump into the code editor and explain what everything is. So for now, don't worry too much about it and just follow along. So let's keep going. We will also need a Google Search Tools Python file. That's where we're gonna build our tools that we're gonna give to our agent, and we are going to need an agent Python file. So that's gonna be our main agent file that we're gonna press a button, we're gonna make it run, and it's gonna return the web research. Finally, we will need a requirements file, and these are all our dependencies of our project, all the libraries that we need to install for our agent and our tools to work. And that's it. So it's nothing too crazy. So now that I've presented you with things that we need, what the framework that we're using is, and the agent folder structure, we are ready to dive deep. And I'm going to show you step by step how it works. So let's go. The first thing you're going to need is to create a Google Cloud Console account. And you can do this with your own Google account. Look up Google Cloud Console on Google, click on the first link. And here I'm already logged in, but if it's your first time, it's going to ask you to create an account. After you create your account, you're going to come to a page like this. You're going to agree to the terms of service. And this is your Google Cloud Console account. Here, you're going to go and select project, new project. You can call it whatever. Click create project, and then select project. You're going to receive that notification. You select the project. Once you have created your project, you're going to come to the navigation menu on the left, on the top left, then APIs and services. Here on APIs and services, we want to install an API that's going to allow our agent to make Google searches. Name of the API is Custom Search API. So you look up the Custom Search API, you click Enable, and now we have to create our API key specifically for this API. So you click on Credentials here on the left, create credentials, API key, and here's your API key. So store this somewhere safe. Never share this with anybody. This is like your password. Here, of course, I'm gonna delete this API after I'm done filming this video, so nobody can use it. Well, you copy it, you store it somewhere safe, and I'll show you where to put this API key in your agents folder structure in a second. But for now, just save it, paste it anywhere in your notepad, in your notes app, anywhere you want. Just paste it somewhere and save it there. And I'll show you specifically where to put it in just a second. You can ignore this message, doesn't concern us. And now you can close this page, and you can also close this other page. We won't be needing it anymore. And the next step is going to be creating a programmable search engine. Sounds scary, but it's super simple. You're just going to look up on your browser programmable search engine, click the first link, get started. No, I already have one. You name it something like web search agent. And here in the section what to search, just click on search the entire web. Don't click on image search or self search. You can leave that like that for now. Confirm that you're not a robot. Create, and you'll get this message. Your new search engine has been created. So you don't need to say this code. You can copy it, but you don't need this. And then you click on customize. After that, you get an overview of your search engine, and you don't need to know any of this. All you need to do know is that you need this search engine ID. So you copy that search engine ID, and just like your Google API key, you want to save that somewhere. Just paste it in your Notes app and save it there for now. And now I'm going to show you what to do with it. Now we go into our code editor. Now that we're in our code editor, I'm going to go step by step on what to do here. I already created some files to set the environment. But the first thing you're gonna do, first thing, open your terminal. You're gonna do Python. You're literally gonna write what I'm writing right now, and you're gonna run that. You're gonna run that command. And what this does is it creates a virtual environment that you can use to test your agent and not have to worry about messing up your global environment. Then you're gonna have issues when you wanna create other applications in the future. Okay, it seems like the virtual environment is being created. Now that the virtual environment has been created, you're gonna want to run this command. And you'll know that your virtual environment has been started because you're gonna see on top of your directory, you have these parentheses that then parentheses. That means that now we are officially in a virtual environment and we can work freely in this project without risk of messing up our global environment. So this step is crucial. Please do it. Please don't mess up your global environment. So after creating our global environment, the next step we're going to do is install our requirements. So I already created a requirement file, but all you need to do is come to your left pane here where your directory is, right? You click on new file and you literally call it requirements.txt. You call it this way. I won't do that because I already have one, as I said. It's right here, and these are literally all the requirements that we need for this project. LangChain, OpenAI, all agents, Google API Python client, and Python Doten. So that's it. Once you write the requirement.txt file, you're going to come back to your terminal and you're going to write pip install r-r requirements.txt. Once you hit that command, it's going to install all the requirements into your virtual environment. And then we're going to be ready to start writing our Python scripts that are going to run our agent. So just hang in there for a while while it installs. And there we have it. I know that the requirements have been installed because now I can type again on my command line on my terminal, and that's it. So now you would create a new file. You would call it tools.py, or in my case, I'm going to name it Google Search Tools.py. That's going to be my file name because we're using Google Search Tools. So that's the logic. I already created this file, and I'm just going to go over it with you. So hang with me as I show you how this script works. First thing you're going to do, from smolagents, import tool. You import the necessary libraries from the requirements that we just installed. I'll leave a link to the GitHub repository where I'm going to upload all this code so you can copy it, you can clone it, make it yours, you can customize it. But I'm just showing you here on this video how it works. So you import your libraries, then you create a new class called Google Search Tool in parentheses tool. And here what we're doing is creating our searching tool that we're going to give to our agent. So we need a name for our tool, in this case web search. We need a description. Our tool performs a Google web search for a query, then returns top search results in Markdown format. And then we specify the inputs of our tool. So we have a query, which is what we want to research, is of type string, and well, the description of our input is the query to perform a web search for. So far so good. We're defining our tool specifications, and here the output of our tool should be a string. So whatever our web search tool returns should be a plain text. Then just write skip forward signature validation equals true. Don't worry about it, just write that. And here we define a constructor that sets up our structure for importing the API keys that we generated before. If you don't want to write this, as I said, I'm gonna link the GitHub repository in the description so you can go check it out and just copy paste it right from there, or even better, just clone it yourself. Clone it and it will download the whole file as is and you can start running it. But if you want to learn how to do this properly and replicate it on your own, I suggest that you write it yourself and you do it step by step. So here we define these parameters and afterwards we load from .env, import load.env. So here what we're doing is loading our environment variables. So now this is where we're going to talk about the API keys that we generated. So let's stop here and let's talk about where to put those API keys. You're going to come here to the left pane and you're going to create a new file called .env. And I already created one, and this .env file is going to contain our API keys, our secrets. So I won't show you the file that I already created that contains my real API keys. So here's how it would look like. So you write Google API key equals, and you paste your API key that we generated earlier, just right there. From here, paste it like that. And then for your Google search engine ID, same thing. We take the one that we generated earlier from our programmable search engine. You copy and paste, and that's it. And now that we're here, let's just get it over with. We're gonna generate our OpenAI API key, which is gonna give us access to an OpenAI model, such as GPT-4 or any of the models from OpenAI. And this is gonna be the brain of our agent. It's gonna allow us to give our agent that large language model capabilities. So we're gonna come to our browser and we're just gonna write OpenAI API. And it's gonna be the first link, so you click there. You sign up. I already have an account, so I'm gonna log in, and I'm gonna log into the API platform. And once I'm here, I'm gonna click on dashboard at the top, right here on the left where it says API keys. You click there, and you click on create new secret key. Here you can name it whatever you want. Create secret key. And just like the Google API key is gonna give you this secret key, which you copy, and never share this with anybody. Again, don't share your API keys. They're like passwords. So you copy that, and I'm gonna delete this API after the video so nobody can use it. You paste it somewhere, and then we go back to our code editor, and I'm gonna write a comment just to specify that here's where our API key goes. And then you literally just write OpenAI API key equals, and you paste your API key, right? That's literally it. That's all we need to set up our API keys. And now we can go back to our Google Search Tools Python file. And here's where we left. We were structuring our API key structure. So yeah, you write from .env import load.env, and then you initialize the module. So you write load.env with two parentheses at the end. And then you go API key equals os.getEnv, and then you write Google API key. And your Python script is going to know that we're referring to the API key and is going to import the necessary secret because we are mentioning Google API key, which is the same as how we named it in our environment file, right? And then here I've added some error exception handling, but you don't need to add this. I just added in case if ever the Google API key is incorrect or it's missing, then it's gonna return a Google API key is not set. And but similarly with the search engine ID, you're gonna do the same thing. Search engine ID equals os.getEnv and then Google search engine ID, which is the same as in our environment file. And the same thing, raise an error if the Google search engine ID is not found. So it's going to say Google search engine ID is not set. And here we are some more specifications in order to be able to run Google search queries. So we are defining our custom search engine and giving it our API key and defining which version of the custom search engine to use. This part I was just doing some testing, but you don't actually need that. It allows me to further customize the type of parameters that our Google search query accepts, but you can delete that. You don't need it for our agent to work. Here we define the actual parameters that we want our query to contain. So a link, a title, and a little snippet of the website or the websites that we're listing. And these lines are just our Python code telling our custom search engine that we just built to actually execute the Google search and return back the results. And then we have the return statement that returns our search results in the format that we specified. So that's it for our Google Search class tool. So this is our first tool that we're building that we're gonna give to our AI agent. And this tool, what it does is that it performs a Google search, a general Google search on the whole internet and lists a bunch of websites. In this case, we've told our search engine to list 10 results, and that's by default. I suggest leaving it at 10 results, or else it can get a bit bothersome, or you can get errors when trying to run the code. 10 results is the default of our custom search engine that we created on our browser. So just my suggestion is just to leave it at 10. And now that we created that general Google search tool, we are going to create a specific Google site search tool. And this is different than our Google search tool because, as the name says, this tool is going to search specific sites. So it's going to go into a specific URL, it's going to go into that website, look at the contents, and return the result. So it's not just general search query, it's looking for a specific URL, right? And this one is much easier to set up. We have our name. We're going to name it site search. We have our description. And the description that I came up with is searches a specific website for a given query and returns the site contents in markdown format. Used when information is likely to be found on a particular domain, such as reddit.com, wikipedia.org, IEEE.org, or archive.org. All right. And similarly, with our other tool, we have our inputs, which is a query and is a type of plain text. And the description of our query input is the query to perform search. Then we have our second input, which is a site. In this case, the specific site that we want to research, as well as a string, and the description is the domain of the site on which to search. Here, we don't have to define as many parameters to this second tool because this tool, as you can see, inherits from the tool that we already created, the Google search tool. So it inherits from that tool, and we don't need to define as many parameters as we did here, like the forward function. All we need to do is to specify those extra parameters to tell that the that we're looking for is the site input, and this is the important part, site search filter. And we're going to set that to I. And what that means is that we're telling our programmable search engine to include the results from that site. And if we did E, we would be saying exclude the results from that site. So here we're doing I, so we tell our tool to search that site, that specific site. And that's it. Those are the two tools that we need for AI agent. So great job on sticking around. Great job on getting all the way through this explanation. And now we are going to define our AI agent using smolagents, and we're going to give it the tools that we just created, and we're going to see it in action. So let's go to our agents file. Here, what you're going to do is on the left pane, create a file called agent py or whatever you want to name your agent. Here, I already created one. I have it right here. And I just wanted to show you how the tools work. So I wrote this quick script that is going to allow us to check how our tools work. And when I click run, you're going to see it opens the terminal and it says results. We ask, what is the capital of France? And it returned the results, which are from a literal Google query titled, what is the capital of France? And here, it doesn't still yet tell us what the capital of France is. It's just showing us a bunch of links that will appear if ourselves wrote what is the capital of France. But now, in order to synthesize these answers and be able to return an actual answer, in order to be able to return final answer equals Paris, we need to have the LLM, the AI, come in, synthesize the answers, and return the final answer. So that's what we're going to do next. So, as I was saying, now we go into our agent Python file and I'll just walk you through it step by step. All right? It's not that hard, so just pay attention and follow along. All right? Again, we import our necessary libraries. This is the crucial part. From small agents, import, and then we're gonna import the module tool calling agent, OpenAI server model, and then from Google Search Tools, which is the file that we just created, we're gonna import Google Search Tool and Google Site Search Tool, which you'll see are the names of the tools that we just created, Google Search Tool and Google Site Search Tool. So we're importing those tools into our Python script that runs our AI agent, all right? Here again, we load our environment variables, which are our API keys, and then here we define the LLM for our agent. So we write model equal OpenAI server model, then model ID equals, in this case, I'm going to be using GPT 3.5 Turbo because it's like a cent per query, and you can run this agent a bunch of times, and you can have it reason, and you can have it plan, and it's going to cost you 1 or 2 cents every time you run the agent, which is pretty cheap. And then we're going to instantiate both of our tools. So we imported them at the beginning, but now we need to activate them. So we write general Google Search Tool equals Google Search Tool, and then Site Search Tool equal Google Site Search Tool. Now we're going to wrap our both our tools into a tool calling agent. So here's where the magic is really happening. We are directly, literally giving our agent the tools that we just created, and we define the name of our agent, web researcher agent, and we write equals tool calling agent. And then you write the name of the agent again. We have researcher in this case, the description of our agent, answers questions that require grounding in unknown information through search on websites and other online resources. And then we give the tools to our agent. We're giving general Google search tool and site search tool, which are the two tools we activated before. Then we say that the model is equal to the model that we also gave earlier. And then planning interval equals to 1. This just means that we're giving our agent the capability to plan in between steps. We're giving the agent max steps, so you can give it more if you want. I'm just giving it 9 because I find it's a reasonable steps number. But if you're running really complicated research questions, of course you can give it more. You can add more planning intervals. You can really get granular with the researching ability of your agent. But for now, I'm just giving it one planning interval so that it plans in between steps, and I'm giving it a number of max steps. So after 9 steps, the agent has to return a final answer. And that's it. That's literally it. That's how we build our AI web researcher agent. Now, all that's left to do is to run a test query and see how our agent works. So you write this script right here, you write this little snippet right here, and then question 1 equals, for example, Reddit says GPT-4 hallucinates less, but archive papers say otherwise. It was right. And here I was running other tests, so how to know if my dog likes his food. But don't worry, for this purpose, I want to show you a more complicated query so that you see the agent in action. So I commented it out so the agent won't take into consideration this question. Then you add some print statements to display answer of your agent, and then you just click run the script. So we're going to see if everything goes right. The agent should start its thinking process, its planning process, and its whole research process. So here we have it. You run web researcher. That's the name of our agent. The query that we gave it, its initial plan. So you see it goes facts given in the task, facts to look up, facts to derive, and then its actual plan that it's going to take in order to answer the query. And then we have the step 1, and it just starts generating. It lists all these websites that is researching and taking note of. Updated plan. It completed step 1, so now it's updating its plan. It's you can see it really going through the research process. Step 2, same thing. Lists a bunch of websites. Updates its plan once again, and this is the planning interval equals 1 that we set up before. In between steps, it plans again for its next step. Just makes it so that our agent returns an even more comprehensive, even more detailed, refined answer to our query. Now, at step three, it only took it 3 steps to return an answer, which is pretty good. Sometimes it can take more, sometimes it can exhaust its maximum steps, and it will return an answer at whatever point during its research that it stopped. But in this case, it's 3 steps. And as you can see, final answer. Archive papers provide a detailed analysis and evidence of hallucination tendencies in GPT-4, while Reddit discussions highlight specific user experiences and comparisons with other AI models. Both sources contribute valuable insights, but the archive papers offer a more in-depth and academic perspective on the issue. Basically, he's saying that Reddit users are just discussing a little bit of the topic, while Archive, the website containing thousands of research papers, is saying that there is evidence, clear evidence, that GPT-4 hallucinates. So there you go. It went through a process of planning and researching, comparing Reddit answers with archive papers, and it came up with the conclusion that archive papers do indeed confirm that GPT-4 hallucinates with clear evidence, as opposed to what Reddit users are saying. So honestly, I think this is fascinating, and hopefully you can appreciate it too. We just, in a span of a couple Python scripts, we were able to develop this fully functioning web researcher agent that we can ask questions to. It's going to go through a plan, through detailed research, and it's going to provide us with a detailed answer to our questions. So that covers the video. So we've gone through how to create this whole agent researcher, how to create a Google Cloud Console account, how to get your Google API keys as well as your OpenAI API keys, and how to write these Python scripts to be able to run your agent. And now I just want to give you some enhancement suggestions to be able to further drive forward your AI agent building capabilities if you want to keep exploring or making your agent better. So the first thing I'm gonna recommend is to add a reasoning steps logger. And I'll just drop this here. It's up to you to research how to do this. You can ask ChatGPT, the resources are out there. You can find anything for free online in today's age. So, this reasoning steps logger is gonna allow you to see between each step what the agent is thinking, because what we saw was the plan that it comes up with. But behind that plan, there's a reasoning for how to get to that plan, for how to perform the next step. So, it gives you more insight in how your agent works. Next, and this is a bit more advanced, but you could create a multi-agent researching system. So one, you could have an agent that specializes in science, another agent that specializes in marketing, another one in programming, and then you can have them working together to answer any type of question that you may have. So, this is a bit more advanced, but just throwing it out there if you want to hone your AI agent building skills, that's something you can try. Then you can also fine tune the tool descriptions and give your agent more researching tools such as table creation capabilities, image analysis slash vision capabilities. So you can enhance your agent by giving it more capabilities and giving it more tools so that it has a better awareness of his online researching environment. And finally, I would suggest to try to create your own user interface for the queries and the agent responses, as well as his workflow and how it goes through the process to arrive at the answer. So that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, interesting, if you learned something new, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I put a lot of effort behind it, showing you guys how to build these agents. Leave some comments down below if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for what you want to see next. If you want me to make a specific video, let me know. I will make the video. If you want me to cover a specific topic, let me know down below in the comments. And with that, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next video.